Okay, this is something that this seminar is something that I have done for Bloom for several years now for their staff. Bloom did several years ago was introduce a retirement plan for their staff, which was a SEP, a simple employment plan, and Bloom has been very generous in what they fund that retirement plan with. They give Bloom provides 10% of their salary in retirement, and 10% is significant. And I'm going to show you how everyone, almost everyone, at Bloom, particularly the young people, can retire in 35 years and be a millionaire. And that will lead them to financial independence. So we're going to jump right in here and show you what I hope to accomplish in this seminar. I want to inspire you to create a vision for your financial independent future. There's nothing more exciting than to be financially independent. I grew up basically poor. My father died when I was 10 years old. It was hand to mouth for a long time, and until my mother got a good job, but we were basically poor. It was hand to mouth most of the time. When I graduated from high school, I went into the ministry, and you know how well the ministry pays. It doesn't pay well at all. And so we were still hand to mouth. And I used to be ashamed of this because people made me feel ashamed of this. But in high school, a insurance salesman came by and introduced me to compound interest and how someone could be financially independent in a relatively short time and have a life of financially being worry free. And he introduced me and switched the switch for me to begin to understand how money works and how compounding works, how the investment markets work, and how I, at a very young age, with very little investing, could become financially independent. So I hope to inspire you to begin to think about your financial independence, because in a life, we have usually about 25 years to prepare, 25 years to work. And what we do with the rest of that time depends on how well we are financially. And so the models that I'm going to show you this morning will show you how you can get to financial independence. I'm going to challenge your fears about investing. Most people do not invest, particularly in the stock market, because they are afraid. And that fear keeps them from even considering it. And I'm going to challenge those fears with facts, with history, and with knowledge. I'm going to show you how you can beat most financial planners and advisors. The models that I'm going to show you will show you how, and this has been historically shown and proven, that you can beat 80% of the financial planners out there by the models that I'm going to show you. I will give you the tools that you can use for a lifetime for financial security, some tools, not all of them. And what I hope to do is completely rock your financial world with practical tips. So I'm going to show you how you can start with smart investing. I'm going to show you simple investing strategies. I'm going to help you start thinking about how you should think about money and how you should track where you are with your investing strategies, what stocks to purchase, and how much you need to be financially independent. So let's jump right in here and get started. As I said, you got 25 years usually to prepare for life. That's going through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, maybe even graduate school. And that usually takes about 25 years, 25 to 30 years. Then you got another 30 years where you're working. That's time where you're accumulating things. And then the other 30 years is where I'm at. You decide what you want to do, but you only decide what you want to do if you can decide what you want to do. I mean, if you're still working at a half, I have to do this job, then you can't do what you want to do. And some of you know what I want to do, so that's what I'm doing. So how much do you need? And Brian's laughing here. How much do you need in order to be financially independent? Most authorities suggest that you need anywhere from 20 to 25 times your current living expenses. Now think about how much you make right now. And if you're sustainable with what you're making right now, you only need 20 to 25 times of that amount to make it work. Okay, I'm just throwing these figures out here. Let's say you're making $30,000 to $35,000 a year. Okay, 20 times that, what is $600,000? That sounds like a lot of money. How do you get the $600,000 in a period of time that is sustainable? I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how you can build your own pension. I'm not even going to use the word annuity. I don't even want y'all to use that word because it's most annuities are scams anyway. And also the pensions that were used to be given by companies are no longer, which is a very, very good thing. You don't want a pension. What you want is what Bloom is giving you, which is a SEP. Okay, it's yours. It's yours to keep. If you quit Bloom right now, you take it with you. So that's what you want. And also, I'm going to show you the 4% rule. 20 times your current living expenses is really 4% of what you have when you choose to retire. It's essentially 4%. So the 4% rule, and remember this, I'm going really fast, y'all, but I do have some background papers here, and I will share these slides with you. The 4% rule is multiple studies that have been done. One of the first ones was called the Trinity study. Says that if, say you have $1 million and you want to know how long that $1 million will last forever, how much can you take from it? Well, the rule says if you take 4%, $40,000 from $1 million, that $1 million probably will last forever. That's the 4% rule. And that study has been looked at multiple times, and it varies from 3% to even as high as 5% now. So, but that's a good guideline to go by. All right, so that SEP is your best friend, and I've already talked about what Bloom is doing, and I wish more companies would do that. When I was working, my company, we didn't have a lot of employees. My company asked, Norm, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a SEP, or would you rather have health insurance? And I ran the numbers, and I tell you what, a SEP with return on investment was a much better deal. And so they provided me with a SEP. And one thing about a SEP, any earnings that you make with a SEP is not taxed. Your SEP will not be taxed until you retire. And that's, you could retire at age 55, and that's when you can start taking the SEP, but it won't be taxed until you start taking it out. And if you take it out before 55, there's some penalties, so you never want to do that. So, and I've already said, At 10%, you'll be a millionaire in 35 years. Isn't that? I think that's exciting. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, there used to be a show called The Millionaire. Well, anyway, it was a show about people who got $1 million, and I thought, man, that would be wonderful. You could be financially independent, and so $1 million is kind of taken on this kind of trademark way of saying you're rich, but I'm going to show you $1 million really isn't that much money anymore. Okay, let me start helping you think about how to think about money. When you're investing, time is your friend, particularly if you're a young person. And when I say if you're a young person, if you're under 40, time is your friend. Even if you're over 40, time is your friend, because of the power of compound interest. Einstein was asked what was the most powerful force on the planet. And he said, compounding interest. And I'm going to show you how that works. One easy way to think about compounding interest is the rule of 72. Now, if I was in person and I could see all of you, I can't see all of you right now, but I would probably ask, does anybody know what the rule of 72 is? Does anybody want to jump in there? Does anybody?
Is it the time it takes for the interest, what you invested to double itself?
That's right, Ballard. That's great. You're not even one of my prior students, so that's good. That's right. So if you're getting to, okay, if I'm going to use the stock market, I'm going to use this number a lot. The stock market, particularly the S&P, has an annualized return of anywhere between 9 and 10%. I think the past 30 years is 10.45 or something like that. That's the annualized return. Okay, so if you had $1,000, okay, at 10%, how many years would that take for that $1,000 to double? Ballard, you want to jump in there? Okay, I'll give the answer because we're running short of time. The answer is 7 years, okay? 10 into 7, okay? So whatever the interest rate is how quickly your money will double. Now, you want to see how important that is? Say you're getting an interest rate of 5%, and there's some financial managers who say, hey, you got 5%, that is great. Well, 5 into 72, it'll take you 14 years. Okay, would you rather your money double in 14 years or 5 or 7? I would rather double in 7. Okay, so that's the power of compounding interest. I want to dissuade you, and I don't think I need to dissuade many people this. Wealth doesn't come from saving, it comes from investing. No one's ever gotten rich by saving. They got rich by putting their money in investments. All right, let me go to this calculator here. This is what I call Norma Adams compound interest calculator. Okay? All right, okay, here's Norma Adams compound interest. And I plugged some numbers in here. Say you're age 25, you just got out of school. And you went to work for Bloom. And I don't know what the salaries of Bloom employees are. I know they range the whole gamut. Okay, I plugged in the number 35,000 here. You can, anything in yellow you can change. Okay, I plugged in the number 35,000. Bloom usually gives a merit raise every year, and so I plugged in 2%. That's also including thinking about promotions and all. I'm looking at the total contribution rate. Now, this is a SEP, okay? All right, that you're getting, which is 10%. So you're going to contribute 10% of your salary every year. Okay. Again, you can plug in any number you want here. If you want to increase that, you can. I'm going to show how all that works. And so it figures your total contribution, 10% of 35,000. So this year, if you made 35,000 last year, Bloom contributed $3,500 to your SEP. Okay. All right. Your portfolio interest rate. This is what, well, let me tell you what the S&P did last year. The S&P last year did, oh boy, Brian, I'm getting stuck here. You remember what the S&P did? Was it 23%? Okay, I think it was 23%. Okay, but again, the stock market does about 9% a year. Okay, and if you want to add more cash to your retirement or your investments, you can. And so there's the total right there, $3,500. Now, if you stayed consistent for 35 years, okay, you would be a millionaire. You would, at the end of that time, you would have $1,095,000 in your portfolio. Okay, that's how fast it accumulates. Okay, you could retire from that portfolio. You could safely take out 4%, and you have 43,000 that you could safely take out. Now you say 43,000, in 35 years probably won't be a lot of money. You'd be surprised. Okay, and also too, you got to figure out you also going to get Social Security. So you add that to it too. So retirement looks really good. But I'm going to plug some numbers here, okay, in here. All right, say you don't like what Bloom is doing, or you don't know. It's not what Bloom is doing. It's the investments that you say the investments that I'm going to suggest you don't like, and you're going to go with something that is what financial managers call more safe, and say that interest is that interest rate is 5%. Okay. All right. And we're going to plug that in. All right. And let's see what happens. Okay. The green line is where you get $1 million. Okay. All right. You plug that in, $1 million. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Oh golly. The $1 million doesn't happen until you are age 73. You could have retired at age 60. Now you're retiring at age 73. That's 10 more years. So, but say your portfolio does better than 9%, say it does 12%. Okay. And, all right. So let's see what happens here. All right. All right. Before you could retire at age 60, now you can retire at age 54. So you see how it works? And you can plug all those numbers in. All right, say you get a big raise that your salary doubles, okay, at some point. Say in 10 years, your salary doubles. Let's plug that in here. I think I can plug that in here. Okay. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now you can retire at age 51. So at age 35, your salary doubled. And so now at 51, you can retire with $1 million. So see how compounding interest works? It works. So look at this calculator and play with it. Here's another compounding interest calculator. The rule of 72 is an easy way of thinking about it if you're just kind of playing with it in your head. When I was age 40, let me tell you this. When I was age 40, my net worth was $7,000 at age 40. Okay. I had $14,000 in stocks, investing in stocks. I was excited at age 40 to have $14,000 in stocks because I could project out to when I was, in my 60s, when I could possibly retire. I was excited. And that's what you can do with investing and with these calculators. Okay, let's go. How to invest. I'm going to give you some simple rules. And some people think, well, simple rules are too easy, Norma. It's got to be more complicated than that. When I hear these financial advisors talk on the radio, they are using these big words and big terms, and they know what they're talking about, and they know how to leverage certain assets, and then they know how to rebalance, and they're so much smarter than I am. Don't believe them, y'all. Don't believe them. What they're trying to do is confuse you and scare you. And again, there's been all kinds of studies on this. A matter of fact, Consumer Reports did their consumer investigation about financial managers, and they said most financial managers use templates, they use confusing language, and they try to use fear to motivate people to use their services. And their services, you know what, usually their services start at about 2%. Now you take 2%, okay, figure this in your head. Take 2% from 10%, you got 8%. So you're looking at doubling your money either in 7 years, or you're looking at doubling your money in every 9 years. They are too expensive, and they're too ineffective. So don't get confused by financial managers that you hear on the radio, or the ones that you might possibly want to contract with. I have talked to many financial managers just to see if what I'm telling people is true. And I tell you what, when I ask them what their return rate is, I always beat them. Always. They have never beat me. And I don't have special knowledge, y'all. I have knowledge that comes from research that's been done by people a lot smarter than myself. Even Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is considered the guru of investing. He was at one time the richest man in America from his investing prowess. He says, says the best way to invest is what I am telling you, and it's not complicated. Okay, be your own investor. Be self-directed, and I'm gonna give you some ideas of how to be self-directed. If you do hire a financial manager, never pay more than 0.5% for financial advice. Never pay more than that. Okay, one of the life skills. You've learned life skills all your life. The first thing you learn to do is walk, feed yourself, dress yourself. Then you got a little bit more sophisticated. Then you learn to drive. You maybe learn to type. These are all life skills. One life skill that you need to learn is how to navigate a brokerage account. And if you don't know how to do that, I can show you in 30 minutes. It's not complicated, folks, but it's a life skill that will pay dividends down the road. So learn to navigate a brokerage account. All right, this is something I ask people to do. If you don't believe my advice, test it. Test it. And if I'm wrong, challenge me, because I want to be proven wrong. I don't want to give people bad advice. And I don't get many people pushing back. Now, I get a lot of people pushing back, and they don't have any. Their information is usually comes from fear, intuition, what they've heard on the radio. And when I give them the facts, they go, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. So first tip, rule number 3. I gave you rule number 2. 1. Oh yeah. All right. Okay. Rule number 4, actually. Okay. Rule number 4. Buy market index ETFs. Okay. When you learn to navigate that brokerage account in Fidelity where Bloom has put your money, learn to navigate that account. I hope you open a brokerage account. These are the ETFs. ETFs are exchange traded funds. And what an exchange traded fund is, essentially is somebody, usually a company, has put together a portfolio of stocks to reflect a certain strategy in the market. The strategy I would suggest you use is you buy ETFs that mirror one of the 3 major stock market indexes, either be the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, or the NASDAQ. Or you could buy all 3 of those, okay? But buy indexes that somewhat mirror those stock markets. Now, I have put those 3 up here: the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the total world market, which I consider almost the Dow. And you can see these are the stock symbols that if you went to Fidelity and you plug that stock symbol in, you could see what it's all about. You could also buy and sell it. Okay. These are the 3 that I recommend. Now, you look at these markets, and this is where the fear comes in, y'all. Beware, fear comes in. All right. Norma, you're suggesting that I buy buy SPY, which is the S&P, essentially a S&P mirror. And so far this year, it's gone down 8.5%. Are you crazy? Why should I buy that? I mean, I want to buy something that's up for the year. Okay, I want to teach you to start thinking about money in the right way. When you're young, you want the stock market to be down. You want it to be way down. You want it to be flat as long as it can be, because you're buying cheap stuff. Okay, you want to buy low and sell, and when you retire, sell high. And yes, the stock market, the S&P is down 8.5%. But again, for young people, that's wonderful. That's what you want. You don't want it like last year. It was up close to 30%. You don't want it there. You don't want to buy it high. You want to buy it low. But timing the market, another thing I'm going to talk to you about. You can't time the market. You can't time it. So I would suggest, if you ask me which one of these would you buy, Norma, I would buy the S&P. Okay, the S&P has demonstrated long-term stability in the sense that of accumulated wealth over a long period of time. So I would start with this ETF called SPY, and if you want to get a little bit more diversified in the other indexes, the NASDAQ is good. The QQQ there is Abby here? Abby? Okay. Abby asked me last year what to buy. I said, Abby, buy QQQ. Abby, I think you would share with them that QQQ was up almost 33% last year. So I don't see Abby, but it was up 33%. Now, again, I'm going to show you a chart of the stock market, and one of the things that financial managers would like to say, and if they were on this seminar, they'd go, well, you want to buy some, you don't want to buy that. You want to buy some bonds. Bonds has a guaranteed rate of 5%. And look here, this year, it's already, the S&P is down 8%. Oh man, you want to lose your money? You want to lose it all? And that just that's gut wrenching to people that maybe have some money, or not even a lot of money. When I was 40 years old and had 14,000, that $14,000, if I thought about losing $14,000, man, that would have been terrible. But by the time I was 40 years old, I was fully indoctrinated in how to think about money. Okay. All right. Boy, I'm getting these rule numbers messed up. So I'm just going to I'm going to have to renumber these later on. Okay. Make every year count by a proper attitude. Now, this is important. Discipline is important. You need to know what your yearly investment return is. Now, if I was in person and I could get y'all's immediate feedback, I would say, okay, what did your investments return last year? Well, Becky, do you know what your investment return was last year?
It was insane. It was like 28% or something 28%. Like that. I have mainly QQQ.
Okay, 28%. That is wonderful. Okay, all right.
Norma.
Yeah.
Okay. I invest so much of my money it hurts. I feel like if I don't give I feel like if I'm not hurting by the amount that I'm giving, I'm not investing enough. But and I especially started to put more in when the market dropped, because as you said, the more I'm investing, when it comes back up, it's like the mushroom. So, but I think I had about 32% return. Ooh. I'm not all that concerned right now. That the market is going down. Mm-hmm. A little bit more concerned than I would be normally, because I'll be retiring in about 6 years, and I'm just hopeful that it's going to come back up. And I can that I've lost, but I'm not really afraid right now, because I learned from you. I don't know if you remember meeting me in the cafeteria.
Oh, absolutely, I do. Yeah,
that meeting changed my life. I got rid of the bonds, and 1 year there in some areas I was having a 40%. 50% return, and that kind of scared me. So I kind of got rid of some of that. I thought that was too much. So, but last year I had about 32% return.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is really wonderful. That's great. All right. So know your yearly return rate, because it. Well, another thing you need to know your net worth, and I think I get to that a little bit later. Okay, the fifth rule is every percent increase in investment returns makes a big difference in the long run. Okay, I've showed you that. Run the numbers on the calculator. I mean, people say, well, I don't mind paying 2% to my financial manager. 2%? 2% whether you make money or not? I mean, that makes a big difference. Matter of fact, 2% can literally bankrupt you in some situations. So every percent makes a big difference. Okay, and let me show you this right here. Historical returns by asset mix. Okay, now this is, people say, well, you need a balanced portfolio, Norma. You need a balanced portfolio, and something like 30% bonds and 30% bonds. Yeah, 30% bonds and 70% stocks. Well, the average return for the past, 70 years, annual return is 9.4%. But if you look at 100% stocks, it's 10%. Okay. Again, figure that rule of 72. One doubles in every 7 years. This one it takes 8 years to do. So well, you say, well, that's only 1 year, Norma, and there's a little bit of safety in the bonds. No, there's no more safety in the bonds than in the stocks, because at the end of the day, and I say at the end of the day, at the end of your investing period, say 25, 35 years, you're going to have more money historically with stocks than with bonds. And I'm going to show you why risk is not, when most financial managers talk about risk, they're usually talking about volatility. And volatility for young people, it doesn't matter. And for old people, okay, it doesn't matter because you've already taken the risk out. I mean, and I'm going to show you how that works. Okay. Now, if I can get back to okay, here we go. All right. So every dollar can make a difference. And I showed you that on the calculator. So any amount that you can put in investments. Now, what I tell people is, you know, we blow a lot of money. You know, I had a friend of mine, I was talking to a friend of mine about investing, and she was driving a Lexus, and I was driving a Camry. Well, my Camry cost $25,000. Her Lexus cost $50,000. And she rode in my Camry and she said, Norma, this Camry is not much different than my Lexus, and I've spent $25,000 more. You know, she could have used that $25,000 for investing. All right. All right. What do you need to do? You need to act. Last year, I had the same seminar. I ran into somebody, one of the staff members, and I said, have you bought those ETFs yet? And the person said, well, Norman, money's sitting there, but I hadn't done it yet. And the stock market had already gone up 10%, you know, and she missed that 10%. And inaction is the biggest killer of wealth. My brother, who I've had this conversation with, you know, he had $30,000 he needed invested. I told him, okay, this is where you put it in SPY. And about 6 months later, I asked him, I said, you know, how's your money doing? He says, I hadn't put it in SPY yet. I mean, he already lost 15%. So, you know, inaction is the biggest killer of wealth. And I see that over and over again. And what keeps people from acting is usually fear. And you got to get over that fear. And I can show you how. All right, I've already showed you what stocks to invest in. Warren Buffett said, I do not know how to time the market, but I do know that the stock market is a consistent generator of wealth. And what Warren Buffett knew is you can't time the market. If you got a chunk of money, invest it. You got a 70% chance that it will grow. If you say you inherited $10,000, what to do with it? Do I piddle it into the stock market over time, or do I do it right away? Do it right away. Do not try to time the market. 70% of the time it goes up. 30% it goes down. I'd rather play the 70%. All right, this is a game right here. Play the timing, the stock market game. I've never seen anybody win it. Okay, so you play that when y'all have time. All right. Okay. I've already showed you these stocks to buy. All right. All right. Here's how to think. All right. Get these nailed in your head. Okay. This is Warren Buffett. He says, be greedy when others are fearful, fearful when others are greedy. In other words, when the stock market is up 30%, you don't want to be selling your car to get into the stock market, okay? You want to be fearful because the stock market won't go up 30% consistently. But when it's down 8% like it is now, that's when you want to get greedy. If you have an opportunity to get money to invest in the stock market, now is the time to do it. So that's how to think. So when in 2009, hey, I was about to retire in 5 years in 2008. I think it was 2008. I was 5 years from retirement. In 2008, the stock market crashed. It went down 40%. I'm looking at my portfolio down 40%. You know how I acted? I was excited. I was giddy. And I did have some access to some funds, and I invested it. I put a significant amount of money into GE, which had lost almost everything. Within about 3 months, it went up 300%. So be greedy when others are fearful. So that's how you need to think. Okay. All right, this is something you need to learn. Ignore talk of risk tolerance, goals, time horizon. This language is designed to confuse, inspire false confidence and trust. If you listen to any financial news channel, if you listen to any financial advertisement, they talk about, we want to know what your risk tolerance is. Don't tell them what your risk tolerance is, because it doesn't do anything to help your investing. It only helps them to sell to you. And if you're fearful, they're going to sell you the worst product available. Everybody's fearful. What's my risk tolerance? My risk tolerance is I want to maximize my return. And when they ask that question to me, I say to them, my risk is you not matching what the S&P can do. So that's don't listen to that language. It's designed to scare you. Okay, I've already said this. Corporate financial advisors know very little. They're propagandists. That's all they are. Most of them, I hate to say this, most of them are not educated in the financial investing. They're not sophisticated. They work off the playbook of their companies, whether it be Edward Jones or even Fidelity or Schwab. They're propagandists, and they know very little. And I say that respectfully, okay? But you need to know more than they do, and you can read one good book and know more than they do. Okay, volatility means nothing when investing early, and because you've already evened out your portfolio in the early years. Okay, let me all right, let me go through this real quick, because these are really important, I think. Okay, investments are not money to spend. So when you see your S&P grow and you got $14,000 in your SEP, that is not your money. Okay, you have to think about it that way. It's not money. Oh, I could buy that Escalade, or I could get a bigger house. I could put a down payment. No, that money is for investing. So you got to think that way. Okay. All right. This is the last point here. Consider all your returns on your investments, your cars, houses, jewelry, land, blah, blah, blah. And you learn how to invest those. If I had 3 hours, I could tell you how to leverage your house. Okay. So that you would have possibly extra $100,000 to invest in the stock market, but we don't have that much time. But if you want to know more about it, I'll be glad to answer any questions anytime. Okay. Let me show you something here. You see this chart here? This is the S&P since the last century. Okay. Since 1900. What do you notice about this? Well, what you notice about it, if y'all could respond, it almost always goes up. Okay. See the slope? That's what you want to pay attention to. When you're hiking the Appalachian Trail, you don't think, oh, golly, I'm going down. I don't want to go down. You got to go down to go up. Okay. Now you say, well, you can lose it all. Look here, Norma, in 1928, people had a lot of money, and then all of a sudden it went down 95%. Norma, 95%. I don't want to lose 95%. Well, you forget this, brother. When Bloom was operating in 1900, and they offered they offered their SEP right here. You know, I'm making this up, y'all. They offered a SEP, you know, it went down, it went up, went down, did up, 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 up. And people were investing all this time. Okay, cheap money, cheap money, cheap money. Okay, not cheap money, cheap investing. Okay, then in 1924, it went way up, started going up, and people started getting really greedy, and everybody was investing. But the balloon people, they were just investing like they normally did. And then when it crashed, the balloon people go, oh, this is great. We just got our SEP contribution. We're going to invest it. And you know what? The balloon people were even in 2 years. 2 years, they were even. Okay. And they stayed even. And then by the time they retired in 1948, they were way up. You know, they were golden, you know. So that's how you have to think about it. And so this volatility means nothing to the balloon people because they were using it, you know, in their investing. So that's how you have to think about it. Now look here, right here. This is where we are right here. You know, the balloon people are investing. It goes down 40% here. Okay. But look, if you were investing back, you know, right through here, that didn't matter, you know, because you were made whole in a couple of years. So only if you got really, really unlucky, and I'm talking to young people, not old people, you invest all your money right here. That's where it really hurts. Okay. But I don't advise old people anymore because they don't have the time horizon. Okay. So, all right. So this is what the major markets have done over the annualized performance of the markets over the past 30 years. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. One of the things I've said to you is you need to measure your performance where you are. I mean, one of the things I do every New Year's Eve is I do a net worth tracking sheet. And what I do is I go through all my assets, cash in the bank, my real estate, my cars, any other assets I might have. I put that in the one column. Then I look at all my liabilities, put that in one column. Then I go down, you know, which includes my stocks. Okay. Then I look at all my liabilities, and then I can come up with my net worth. And you know, I look at net worth. It's not something, you know. You know, I'm a Christian man, and I understand the parable of the guy who built the barns and with all the stuff in it, stored all the stuff in it. You know, money is not a goal in itself. Money is just a vehicle in which God has allowed me to do things, and that includes giving away a lot of money. So, and also being able to, you know, to serve on the Bloom board, and so I don't have to work. I can serve on the Bloom board. You know, money is a vehicle that God gives you to be a steward of, and so when I talk about money, I'm talking about how are you a good steward of that money, and so don't think that I'm talking about money because it's a goal in itself. It's not a goal. It's a means to an end, which is to serve God in a very powerful way. I am going to share this seminar with y'all, and these are some links to some past seminars and all the documents that I've talked about in this seminar. And also here, I've provided more links. Here's an article I wrote, Family Wealth, Don't Sell the Farm. I talk about the accumulation of wealth from a historical perspective. America has looked at wealth differently since the early 1800s, particularly when the industrial age came about. we used to see wealth as something that we passed on to generations and it was for sustainability. Now we see wealth as something to be spent and to be used immediately, and our future generations don't benefit from that. And it has destroyed many, many families, particularly the African-American family. I love to see African-Americans have a larger share of America's wealth. And one way which it is by investing in America, in its stock market. And the family farm is now the stock market, and that article talks about that. I have here a list of good books and articles to that you can read that can help guide you to think about money. And all of these are good books. If I had to suggest one book, well, one of the books that was really shaped my life was the first one there, The Only Investment Guide You Ever Need. That really shaped me in a very powerful way. But all these books kind of talk about it in much the same way. This book here by Bogle, the little book of Common Sense Investing, that guy changed the world by talking about invest in the stock market and you can be rich. And he changed the world in a lot of ways and made people realize I don't need a financial investor. I can do it all myself. And so that might be a book you want to buy too. I got a link to the Fidelity site where most of your monies are invested. And so I hope again that you understand how to navigate that site and how to navigate a brokerage account. One of the things I've offered to staff of Bloom, and also anybody actually, if you have any questions, call me. And I tell you what, very few people have. Mrs. Hall has. I mean, she called me up and said, Norma, well, let's meet downtown. And so I met with her, and I'm glad I had some impact on what she did. So if you ever have any questions, call me. If you get stuck with the Fidelity site, call me. I'll be glad to help you. So, hey, Becky, we're about out of our hour. I'll open it up to any questions that anybody might have.
I know, did you answer the question about whether the link, like you're going to share some of your documents and then I'll have the recording of this.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I can share that as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Any questions?
So I have a question, and I know you probably already answered this question. I mean, it has to do with what is going on in the stock market right now. Like if you're just now getting in, it seems like it looks like it's just in a free fall somewhat. And I've heard that recession could be potentially coming. Would you, if you're just getting in, would you wait until you got in or just?
Okay, never get rid of this idea that you can
timing the market. I know.
Yeah, okay, get rid of it. Okay, don't even think about it. You can't do it. I've been doing this for 50 years, y'all. And anytime I've timed the market, I have been 50% right. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, now if you got money I know I signed the SEP check to Fidelity, so I know it's been deposited to your accounts. Now is the time to make those investment decisions. Now, okay, now. Okay, and let me tell you about the recession, the coming recession and inflation and the Ukraine war. Oh, I'm so scared. Okay, during those periods, the last recession, the major last recession, the stock market went up 14%. During the last recession, during 1989, I think it was 1979, when inflation was 14%. No, not 14, 18%. I bought a house, by the way, when inflation was 18%, and interest rates were 18%. The stock market, guess how much the stock market went up? 18%. So don't listen to these fears. Okay, I have on right now CNBC, okay? And all they are is they have 2020 vision. No, they have 2020 back vision. I mean, they can look back and say, oh, this is what happened. No, they don't even know, okay? It's all noise. And y'all, I say that from informed position, okay? I compare my returns with these people, these pundits that sit on TV, and my returns is as good as theirs. So I'm talking from an informed position.
All right. Norma, really quickly, I was wondering if you had any thoughts about Robinhood or other sites like that.
Well, you know, what Robinhood has done is really introduce people into investing, and I'm glad to see that happen. I mean, if it's a vehicle that you can use it, but I would prefer people stay with the more mainline investing firms like Fidelity or Schwab or Interact. I have interactive brokers now too myself, because they have some really interesting tools. So I would stay with some of those mainline ones.
Okay. I have a question, Norma.
Yeah.
So I will be retiring in September. That's my goal. And I'm still with the state, and we have A-Light Financial that's managing our portfolios. Mm-hmm. So I don't have the personal investment advisors. I don't do that. I got a hold of one guy who was kind enough to tell me that I could push a button on the website and do the exact same thing that he could tell me. So, you know, so I thought that was pretty kind of him, but yeah, he did suggest that I look at life cycle funds.
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Again, y'all, one of the things I learned very early is test the methodologies of other people. And these life cycle funds almost always underperform what the S&P does over a short period of time and long period of time. So don't do it. Don't do it. I've tested those.
Okay. Well, I would like to talk with you offline, so I won't take up any more of your time.
I'd be glad to talk to you about that.
Okay. All right.
All right. I mean, the life cycle funds are, I tell you what, some people should be sued. I mean, really. I mean, they're not good at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, Becky, I don't want to keep your staff from doing important work. So if there's no other questions, look, y'all, call me. I mean, I'm available. You know, I'm retired. This is what I do.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Norma. This has been very informative. Thanks so much.
I hate
Thank you
to have
so much, Norma.